Alright, hey there Pirate Monkey Crew, and welcome to another video tutorial. So today we're going to be painting these kind of joints, I guess you could say, on the dragon. I'm just showing you a couple of the colors that I am using here. The darker one is Burned Flesh from the Vallejo Nocturna fantasy set. The other one is Reddish Flesh. And so what I'm doing here is I'm coming in with a very thinned down version of the Burned Flesh just to kind of establish where this is going to be, start to try to create some kind of transition. If you're transitioning from one area to another, it's always a pretty good idea to start a little bit thinner, just so that way you're creating that transitional zone. And it's probably something that near the end I'm going to come back and work on a little bit more extensively. With this one, that push-pull layering technique where I'm pushing into that and just coming back in with a second layer of this burned flesh. You'll see now too I'm working within that zone that I had previously. Really light wash there on the neck, and then I'm also kind of getting in here into the gums, and I'm going to be painting his tongue here, just so that I can really, kind of identify what areas are going to be getting painted with this color and which ones aren't. I really like this whole scheme where I have this kind of greenish yellow, off yellow tone, and then I have a warm red, and then later on with the crystals we're going to kind of have like a little bit of a cool red in the form of magenta, and this really nice kind of almost complementary. It's a complementary scheme with a little bit of a small T on that reddish side. So just coming in with a 50-50 mix of the burned flesh and the reddish flesh, and I'm starting to just kind of indicate where I, may want some of these highlights. And the general advice that I would give here is you can go slower if you need to. You don't need to make like just a little bit smoother, and it's always dependent on what you want to do. Sometimes faster, more aggressive is better. Sometimes slower and smoother is a little bit more advantageous. So and there on the tongue, I'm really just picking out these larger general shapes. They're the easiest to see on the tongue. The shapes on those are a little bit more ambiguous. They're not really. They kind of feel like planes, but they have a little bit of a curve to them. So there's a bunch of little things going on in there. Using the same color here, that one before, you can usually, if you mix up a little bit, you can use that color twice and get a fair amount of use out of it. From here, it's really going to be a game of just gradually mixing up with color and doing the same highlighting or with the skin tone. Like I said before, a little bit slower, a little bit smoother, but overall the same process. Just kind of working in here on the webbing between the feet. That's something where I'm not necessarily following a specific shape. I'm just wanting to make sure the highlight gets a little bit warmer as we go in there. Continuing to work up. I think now I'm using pretty much pure reddish flesh at this point. At a certain point here too, I'm also going to mix in a little bit of medium flesh into it. It's just a little bit lighter with a little bit more yellow mixed into it than the reddish flesh, but it creates just a nice little pop, just enough to really accent these things. And we're just very, very gradually, just very slowly gonna introduce a little bit of that into that reddish flesh mix, just because we don't want to create too much contrast actually here. Surprisingly enough. Just thought I might try out a little bit of that flesh color there around those spikes coming out of the back of his jaw. And glazing just a little bit of that reddish flesh there on the neck. Just one more time, just to kind of increase its intensity just a touch. And yeah, that's it for this one, guys. I know a lot of these processes are very kind of rinse and repeat, but I really wanted to show you as much of these processes as I can. Main reason being is that that's what you guys are asking for. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. Thank you so much again for all of your support, and we'll see you for the next one. Pirate Monkey Painting, signing out.